Hello, this is week 13. We finally reached that one fiscal quarter. So it's week 13 of the 13-week fiscal program for American Descendants of Slavery. My name is Chief Biko. Today we have Chief Alligator, Chief Quiet Water, as well as Chief Blackcoat. And again, here we focus more so on the first letter of the acronym in ADOS, which is American. I will start by reading off the 12 steps for American Descendants of Slavery. All right. Step 1, learn about the estate or states your family originated from. Step 2, who established that estate. Step 3, what nation and confederacy had jurisdiction over that area prior to the European. Step 4, ask all nonprofit organizations you attend, what's your position on reparations? Step 5, they either support it or they don't. No support, no money. However, if they support it, then immediately children and adults need weekly classes free of charge about steps 1, 2, and 3 and field trips to ADOS landmarks in that city, county, and state. Step 6, don't support European holidays for the remainder of the 13-week time frame. Step 7, avoid spending money with any small business or businesses that do not hire your people, gas stations, nail salons, subways, etc. Step 8, all businesses need operating cash, spend money with American Black businesses. Step 9, all other groups rely on our energy and operating cash to survive. Set the trends of making other groups follow our lead and support our clubs, services, products, and entertainment. Step 10, the US government is bankrupt. The Federal Reserve prints money in i.e. quantitative easing, and it burns money in i.e. quantitative tightening. The US dollar has been backed by the gold standard since Richard Nixon in 1971, the Gold Standard Act. The government operates off the full faith of its citizens to pay debt and taxes. American descendants of slavery no longer have faith in the US government. This is why financial support will be altered, stopped, and redirected. Step 11, teach our children 1 hour a day about their history on this land. A, have them learn about a American inventor. B, have them know about our heroes. C, they should know the European that conquered the estate you live in. And D, they should know the nation of people prior to the European invasion, militarily and culturally. Step 12, practicing these steps will educate us on the land we're claiming America and attaches us to the history and laws of the US government. Every estate American descendants of slavery live in should have steps 1, 2, and 3 advertised via social media, radio, and newspapers. This in 13 weeks, one fiscal quarter will bring us together for our common cause. And prior to delegating to the next topic, I want to say this is something that our people have struggled with throughout history, pretty much of setting the goal and making sure that we stick to that plan and obtaining it. So I'm very proud of each individual, each chief on this live here for actually sticking to the program and actually doing this. And I just want, hopefully this, inspires the rest of our brothers and sisters to do the same. Next, we will have Chief Blackcoat read the Dr. Woodson quote.
How y'all doing? How y'all doing? All right, so today I'll probably do the very last quote. Let me just pull it back up for you guys. All right, so quote 13, the race has great possibilities. Properly awakened, the Negro can do the so-called impossible in the business world and thus help to govern rather than merely be governed.
Great quote, quote, Chief Blackcoat. Next, we're going to have Chief Quiet Water give us the Inventor.
Okay. So this week I am going to do the Inventor, and it is going to be Thomas L. Jennings. And actually, he is the first American inventor that was ever patented. His patent was the method of dry cleaning before what we know as dry cleaning. It was called dry scouring, and it's just dry cleaning. It was basically before how they dry clean now, basically to remove stains from your clothing, in a dry method. And he basically invented that method. So he was born in New York, January 8th, 1794. He died February 13th, 1876. The patent number is 3306X. The patent date was, let me see, March 3rd, 1821. And he was married and had 3 kids. And that's Thomas L. Jennings.
And Chief Quietwater, you said that was the first American inventor ever patent.
Correct.
Wow.
Yep.
Wow. And that's just pretty much just reiterates how we have to make sure that we are identifying ourselves as the American and not the European.
Exactly.
So just, want to make sure that we are clarifying that. So this is the first American inventor ever patent on this land.
Yep.
Great find. Next we'll have Chief Alligator read off the maroon historical points as well as the legal definitions.
Okay, I have one question about the inventor. So do we own any percentage of that industry that was created?
We do not. No, we do not.
Okay, so here we
And
are.
to add to that, he was actually a tailor. And then it kind of ventured off into learning how to dry scour or dry clean clothes. That's how it started. He became an entrepreneur and everything like that as well. But no, we do not own any percentage of this industry.
Okay, so here we are with September 26, 2021. And I think Asians predominantly run that industry now in America. And they don't pay any kind of perpetual tax to our group of people, even though we invented it. So that's another industry that we do not have control over. So I'll read the maroon historical points. I'll start with legal definitions. First legal definition, American, a native of America. Second legal definition, descendants, one who follows in the bloodline of an ancestor, either lineally or collaterally. Third, slavery, a situation in which one person has absolute power over the life, fortune, and liberty of another. Prisoner of war, fourth legal definition, a person, usually a soldier who was captured by or surrenders to the enemy in wartime. Fifth legal definition, school, any institution at which instruction is given in a particular manner. Any institution at which instruction is given in a particular discipline. And education, number 6, an enlightening experience. And the 5 maroon historical points. Number 1, was a person escaping slavery, seeking freedom, or breaking the law. Point 2, providing unity and a strong defense came first. Point 3, Maroon leaders were first and foremost military figures. Point 4, Maroons established guerrilla warfare, planting sharp sticks and thick grass. And point 5, Maroons knew their European enemies' language, defense, and plans.
Excellent. Prior to jumping back into the Treaty of Paynes Landing, we're again going to go over the Constitution and just pretty much reiterate how there is no money and how the treaty is the highest law of the land. Let me go ahead and share my screen. All right. So we'll go ahead and start here. Article 1, Section 10. Okay. And can everybody see, or should I zoom in, or is that good? Is that good for everybody?
Yeah, that's good.
Okay. Section 10, no state shall enter into any treaty, alliance, or confederation, grant letters of marque and reprisal, coin money, emit bills of credit, make anything but gold and silver coin a tender in payment of debts, pass any bill of attainder, ex post facto law or law inquiring the obligation of contracts, or grant any tide of nobility. So again here, people, coin money, emit bills of credit, make anything but gold and silver coin a tender in payment of debts. And I'm not sure if a lot of you all have been keeping up, but the nation, or the US rather, is $28 trillion in debt. So again, if we are collecting this fiat currency cash and it's not backed by anything, who are we actually, as far as the Americans, indebted to? So there's just something to keep in the back of the mind, and also just to remember that we have this fiat currency is backed by nothing. The Gold Standard Act was implemented in 1971, and that's when actual money was taken out of the U.S. government. So again, gold and silver coin is the only pretty much tender or money that is payment for debts.
I got a question to pose to you, Chief Leo,
Go ahead.
because it says no state shall enter, right?
Mm.
So we're talking about individual states. So let's say that you quote unquote paid off a car.
Mm-hmm.
If you didn't pay with gold and silver, did you pay it off?
You did not. You did not, and that's why you have what's called, I guess, we can say, property taxes or taxes on your vehicles, your homes, or anything that you supposedly have paid off, but you continue to keep paying. So it's like, did you actually pay the perpetual reoccurring payment? So that's a great point out, and great observation there, Chief Alligator, because that's pretty much what we're in today. And of course, if we know it's not backed by anything, then they can continue to ask for this imaginary fiat currency.
Right.
As long as everybody still has faith.
Mhm.
Right.
Right. The reason why I asked that is because you get a certificate of title, right? A certificate is not the title.
Mm.
A certificate. Follow me?
Mhm.
So again, everything that we have in these steps is we have to think. There is no money, then what power do you really have? I'm saying as
Right.
a government. If there is no money, then what power do you really have? The power that you have is military occupation,
Mhm.
because you have to go along with make-believe.
Make-believe system. And like you said, that's the only way you can continue to uphold that system is with that military, because we see, again, 28 trillion in debt. That's no money to me right there. So how are they still, in control? How is everything still, quote unquote, running as quote unquote normal, I guess you could say? And that's due to that military occupation. The next one we are going to read here, let me zoom out just to make it a little quicker. Article 6. And that is pretty much just reiterating that the treaty is the highest land of the law. So anything underneath that is null and void. This Constitution and the laws of the United States, which shall be made in pursuance thereof, and all treaties made or which shall be made under the authority of the United States shall be the supreme law of the land. Again, the Constitution and the laws of the United States, which shall be made in pursuance thereof, and all treaties made or which shall be made under the authority of the United States shall be the supreme law of the land. And the judges in every state shall be bound thereby to those treaties. Anything in the Constitution or laws of any state to the contrary, notwithstanding. So to the contrary, anything that is pretty much going against that treaty, if it is not a treaty in itself, it shouldn't matter. It's just pretty much an article to read at that point. If it's something that is going against whatever is written in that treaty. So again, these different laws, these statutes, these highway laws, different things of that, permits, it's not needed, and it's pretty much illegal. And if it's not in the treaty or anything of that nature, then it doesn't hold weight pretty much on this land or within this
Dumb
government
question.
system.
I got a dumb question. I got another dumb question.
Go ahead, Chief Alligator. Ain't no dumb questions too.
Not for us.
If the judges in every state shall be bound thereby, who are a part of the treaties?
Great question. If we just go back on the treaties that we've been reading
Nations.
so far, who do we have? We have the military. You have your military captains, lieutenants, agents. The
Right.
ones, those are the ones who are signing these treaties. So again, that kind of even goes back to the point we just the discussion we just had in regards to how is this nation still running military occupation.
Mhm.
That's the actual power, not any of this fiat currency. But if you have power, if you have arms, if you have people willing to fight for something, that is what actually gets you the resources we are looking for, freedom we are looking for, things of that nature. So that's pretty much what I would say.
So on one side of the chessboard is the military. Who's the group of people on the other side of the chessboard that's a part of the treaty?
The Native Americans.
Americans, right?
Correct.
So the judges in every state are bound by the treaties, which are tied to the Americans.
Right.
Correct. Correct.
So they're really supposed to be judging based off land, which is attached to treaties. With me, because the treaties are attached to land.
Correct. They're not attached to anything that's not tangible, pretty much, if that makes sense.
So here's what's interesting. We're never taught about this because that's what the judge is supposed to be bound by. Making sure the Americans keep their land.
Right.
You with me?
So
now they got us ordinances, statutes, codes. They got us way off of the treaties.
What's actually the focus, and that's like you said, the treaties, and that's what they know they're bound by. So anything outside of that, yeah, that shouldn't pertain to us as
pretty
Americans.
irrelevant.
That pertains, correct.
Go ahead.
That pertains to your Europeans.
So we're talking two groups. Stay with me. The United States government is a corporate fiction. A corporation is a corporate fiction. But the people tied to the treaty are real people tied to the land.
Right.
So if they never have to deal with treaties, which are the people tied to the land, then they can push everybody into this make-believe world.
Right.
Which is where you get Black, Negro, colored, people of color, minority. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So there's really two groups under the United States government. I'm sorry. There's one group. You got United States citizens, and then the Americans are supposed to be separate and apart from the government.
Correct.
What they've done to us is they've brought us up under their corporate fiction. And we've forgotten that we're the Americans. So we don't even.
That's the root to it. Being declassified, or, all of our culture and heritage being taken away. So now we don't even deal with the treaty on the land that the law is supposed to be pretty much be all together. We deal with, like you said, ordinance, statutes,
everything that distract us from the land, pretty much.
There it is. Boom. Yep.
Right. They should be paying us. I mean, the way I'm reading that is if we're tied to the land because we're the Americans, our ancestors went in the treaty with these people, then that means that whether you live in the city of Atlanta,
don't matter.
You can come wherever you want, Haiti, Afghanistan, you'll still pay a tax to the holders of the treaties, the people of the land.
Correct. But there's been a lot of confusion, this mixing of mixing up the pot, you could say, us being underneath like US citizens, or trying to make us be underneath that US citizen system, which will pretty much give them power and take it away from us. But like that's why it's so important to reclaim our identity, our national our nationality, and claim as Americans, because we were the ones that had these treaties with them. If we don't reclaim that, then we are stuck in this Afro-American, Negro, African-American, Black people of color, and stuck within this US citizen system. That's a great point.
Titles that don't mean anything at all.
That was a good point, you Biko.
A great question there, Chief Alligator. We're gonna go ahead and jump into Treaty of Paynes Landing. I think we have one more article to go into, and then we'll hop into the last Seminole War. Pull this up here.
Knocking it out.
Seminole. Okay. All right. Y'all let me know if y'all can see it. Try to blow this up a little bit.
So where did we stop? We stopped on, I think it was Article 6.
I think it was, if we didn't stop within it, well, we probably stopped within Article 6. I remember us reading this being anxious to be relieved of pretty much the treatment that they was being put underneath. But I'm not sure if we finished the whole thing. We can go ahead and just start from 6 then. Let me see here. I'll go ahead and start us off. The Seminoles, being anxious to be relieved from repeated vexatious demands for slaves and other property alleged to have been stolen and destroyed by them, so that they may remove unembarrassed to their new homes. So the Seminole, being anxious to be relieved from repeated vexatious demands for slaves and other property alleged to have been stolen and destroyed by them, so that they may be removed unembarrassed to their new homes. So it's reading like here, them kind of just being arrogant to me, being anxious and relieved. That kind of just reads as that European arrogance coming through in their words here, but also demands for slaves and others. So it seems like they were the European demanding that they return all of their prisoners of war, as well as any property that may be of use to the European once the Seminoles have been removed from this area of land. And they're also saying that the Seminole has claimed to destroy and pretty much anything that they don't have has been stolen already. That's pretty much what I'm getting from this first sentence. Thoughts on that?
Yeah, it sounds like they're chumping them off. It sounds like they're they're accusing them of stuff that they may not have any idea about. But here again, they're threatening to basically remove them unembarrassed. So that I read that as if, okay, we'll send you to Oklahoma with nothing, right? Right?
Yeah.
We're pretty much saying that you have whatever it is, right? Whatever they're claiming that they have, they're like, okay, if you don't come up with this, we'll embarrass you. We'll send you butt naked out there to Oklahoma. That's kind of how I'm reading this. Like they're pretty much.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Just want to look up that word vexatious is causing or tending to cause annoyance, frustration, or worry. So repeated
So
worry.
it's like they're intimidating them pretty much.
Pretty much, and like Chief Alligator said, probably with those demands, like if you guys don't come up with what we say you have, then anything prior that we were saying we would give you all, we don't have to do it pretty much.
Right.
Let's see here. The United States stipulate to have the same property investigated and to liquidate such as may be satisfactorily established, provided the amount does not exceed $7,000. So again, they're going to have an agent on their side investigate the land to see if there's anything that might be obtainable or tillable that they can possibly reap the benefits off of. That's what it's reading like here to me. And they won't exceed as far as, I guess, distributing or issuing payment to the Seminoles, anything over $7,000. So when they have this person actually investigated, they can just be like, well, nothing's really worth anything here, but it could be something, a gold mine, again, one of our inventions that we don't get credit for, that they are continuing to reap the benefits of now. So they could just have them come in, appraise the property, say, oh yeah, we found this, but we're only going to give you $1,000 instead of the max. That's what it's kind of reading like to me.
I agree.
It sounded like human trafficking to me. It sounded like they say, vexatious demands for slaves and other property. So here they're saying that people are also property, right? So
yeah.
So let's just say you're getting ready to take a town and move them into Oklahoma. I'm just gonna throw an example out there. Let's say you want all the baddest women out of that tribe. right?
Mm,
As your booty and prize,
yeah.
right? And so you say, that's my property. See what I'm saying?
Damn. Yeah.
All right.
And
Yeah.
so in addition to the women and the children, let's just use as an example, and whatever other natural resources or weapons that they may have had, you're only going to get $7,000 for it, right? So let's say they take 300 women and say, it's our property.
7,000.
You know, it just sounds like human trafficking to me. Like at this point, you know, if we say that that's our property, then that's what it is.
Exactly. No, that makes a good point. Wasn't even registering that, but that's definitely probably what they, and pretty sure that's exactly what they did. Went in there and picked whoever they found appealing to the eye to take them as, work in the house and be their sex slaves or whatever the case may be. And that can also, again, even hurt us even later down the line when we don't have the women to actually, grow our people. Just because, again, they can just claim them as property in this article here.
Is that plausible, Chief Blackcoat? That they can just pretty much just just take people from within a tribe before they relocate them somewhere. How does that look in reality?
Well, we always touch on, being prisoners of war. They were up against the army. So you got barrels to people's heads and children. Yeah, sounds very plausible for exactly what they're pretty much saying. Chief Biko even said, they pretty much sound arrogant. Yeah, they're pretty much saying, you're gonna get 7,000 no matter what we find on this territory. They're pretty much, what's the word I'm looking for? Draining it of all its resources, including the children, women, men, whatever it is. So yeah.
Like they're flexing their power that they have over their head.
Big time.
Yeah.
What it says, the Seminoles being anxious to be relieved from repeated fictitious demands for slaves. So now they're like, yeah, they're pretty much being arrogant, pretty much saying now they're relieved that we're giving them certain or whatever they're trying to say right there.
Well, it's kind of like if you got a family member and they're saying, that's our property, you're like, no, that's my grandma, right?
Right.
The military is like, no, that's our property. And so you can see how, not only are you losing tangible resources, but you could be losing real family members. You could be losing family members. The military could be taking them and saying, well, they're our property now. These were slaves.
Yeah. You see here, Article 7, the Seminole Indians, the Seminole Americans will remove within 3 years after the ratification of this agreement, and the expenses of their removal shall be defrayed by the United States, and such subsistence shall also be furnished them for a term not exceeding 12 months after their arrival at their new residence, as in the opinion of the president. Their numbers and circumstances may require the immigration to commence as early as practicable in the year 1833. So I'll go ahead and stop here in the year 1833. So it just seems like here they're giving the Seminoles 3 years to pretty much move from their previous location from the Treaty of Moultrie Creek. And then also, let me see. Then it also says here, such subsistence shall also be furnished them for a term not exceeding 12 months. So it seems like here they are willing to, I guess, help them with that removal for up to a year. So pretty much 12 months. But after that, they pretty much on their own, and they have to find their own, not find their own way, but rather find their own, I guess I would say, like any type of clothing or anything to actually make that travel.
What's the definition of defrayed? The legal definition of defrayed?
Defrayed, let me see here.
Because what it's looking like to me, it's very clear that the military is a separate operation from the United States government. Right? Like the military is doing whatever it is that they want to do, right? They're pretty much, they're claiming property and claiming people and then they're referring payments to the United States government.
Like to defray.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's what it's coming here. Defrayed in relation to eligible expenditure incurred and discharged by payment.
okay. So anything dealing with payment, the
Mm-hmm.
military is deferring that to the United States government.
Mm.
However, when it comes to property and what they're calling slavery,
Land, right.
they're claiming that.
Chattel, yeah.
So it's like two separate operations. It's like you got the
Mhm.
military, their boots on the ground, they're actually capturing resources and people.
Right.
Any kind of payment, they'll say, hey, you need to go deal with, you need to talk to the United States government about that.
I was just going to harp on when we say the military, these are the immigrants or peasants that's pretty much playing for keeps. So you have everybody with whatever they wear, and they're the militia, pretty much, playing for keeps. So they're only going to deal with the land because that's what we're here for, and then we'll do all this paperwork, send it to the U.S. government. That makes sense.
Great point. Great
Defer
point.
all that.
Yeah, you guys handle that. We're just going to make sure we get secure this
security.
Secure the land, secure these resources. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Any thoughts on that, Chief Quietwater?
I'm on the same page with you guys. It's starting to make more sense now.
For sure. Let me see. I ended here. All right. And with those Americans at present occupying the Big Swamp and other parts of the country beyond the limits as defined in the second article of the treaty concluded at the camp Moultrie Creek, so that the whole of that proportion of the Seminoles may be removed within the year aforesaid, and the remainder of the tribe in about equal proportion during the subsequent years of 1834, and 1835. So also here, I see that they bring up the actual Treaty of Moultrie Creek. Let me see here. With those Americans at present occupying the Big Swamp. I probably need to go ahead and let me see if I can find that. I believe this might just be the territory that they are already within as far as the Seminole. And I think they trust probably as far as the European just classified as the Big Swamp, since that was like marshlands that they were pretty much given. And other parts of the country beyond the limits as defined in the second article. Yeah. So pretty much here, they're just saying that any peoples or any Seminoles still occupying that land,
the Big Swamp,
pretty much that Big Swamp that was pretty much given within that Treaty of Moultrie Creek will have the subsequent years, 2 years pretty much to get up out of there. Because again, we see here they have 1833 is when they want to start them. And then pretty much they're saying anybody who's pretty much not signed on this treaty, everybody who's still there, they have subsequent years of 1834 and 1835 to get out of there.
To me, this just further proves military occupation, where it says,
100%.
I don't know if you can highlight the document, Chief Biko.
Yeah.
Where it says right there, where it says, and with those Indians at present occupying the Big Swamp and other parts of the country beyond the limits as defined. So you can have other nations or tribes of people who never went in the treaty at Moultrie Creek.
And
so now they're saying everybody in that area gotta go now. So this is a prime example of what Chief Blackcoat just said previously. This is just the militia and the military just clearing out the land, just saying, you know what, whether you rent in treaty or not, if you're outside the boundaries, we just gonna move you.
Great point.
Mm-hmm.
Great point. And like Chief Blackcoat said, it's just playing for keeps at this point. They're just trying to milk it for what it is at this point, see as much as they can get. Because again, they are going to be the ones that's going to be occupying that land. So it's like, well, shit. Why not try to get more while we got it? While the getting's good, let's go ahead and get as much as we can.
I think one of the chiefs on this channel said before that they became masters at moving people around. So by this point, they got the magic down, they got the science down on how to pretty much, even though we're doing treaties with one tribe or one nation, now these other nations in that area as well just fell into their To their demise.
And we're going to identify you as those people that we made the treaty with, in case, and that'll be the paperwork side. The United States can handle
Exactly,
that. That's
right.
what that
Defer
defrayed.
that.
Exactly.
And then they just became under one big melting pot
Chief
of
Rico said something important.
people. Yeah.
Yep.
Mhm.
Now
Correct.
let's keep one thing. Let's honor our ancestors and understand now this is war theater. So if you're a part of another nation and you got these Europeans coming talking about, hey, you got to go west of the Mississippi, understand our ancestors were killing these people on sight.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
Because now you're going outside of your boundaries of people who were
Bring it
doing
back.
business with you. So
Mhm.
those people are looking at you like, I don't know what you're talking about. So
Right.
this is
Yeah.
war.
Yeah.
Bullshit.
I don't
You
remember
trying to
this.
move? Go ahead.
No, this is war. Like,
Yeah.
even though we're reading treaties, we got to understand everybody wasn't tapping out.
Right.
And we can
Correct.
see here that now the European is saying, you know what? Not only Big Swamp, anybody in that area, if we catch you slipping, we can put you on a plantation, we can lock you up, or we can ship you west of the Oklahoma. So we can see how it's basically like kill or be killed.
Mhm.
Yep.
Right.
Great point. Let me see here.
And that's always been the moral of the story here on this land. Kill or be killed. Somehow we've forgotten that.
Right.
Yeah. It's true. Let's see here, the last paragraph. In testimony whereof the Commissioner James Gadsden, and the undersigned chiefs and headmen of the Seminole Americans have hereunto subscribed their names and affixed their seals, done at Camp Paynes Landing on the Ocklawaha River in the territory of Florida on this 9th day of May, 1832, and of the independence of the United States of America, the 56.
Oh,
You just read it again, Chief Vico.
What's that there?
Highlight that last sentence. Here's another treaty where the military is
Independence of the United States of America.
It's a separate
so they showing
operation.
it. Yep.
It's a separate
Right.
operation.
So you got a
Right.
military occupation or a military operation going on aside from the government doing what they're doing, setting up structure in DC or wherever, the headquarters is at this time. So yeah, definitely a separate operation. They're pretty much saying
So-
now that they reiterated.
Yeah.
What does the 56 mean?
Hmm.
Is that the 56 that signed? No, signed it? No.
Of independence of the United States in 56.
United States of America, the 56.
Maybe that's a
See, I have
district
to- yeah.
of militia. Sounds like
Oh,
right. Sounds like maybe one of its
like we seen on that map, the militia district
Mhm.
map.
what you think of Chief
Okay.
Alligator?
I mean, so what we're seeing here, this is the second treaty,
Mhm.
Treaty of Moultrie Creek, the Treaty of Paynes Landing. What we clearly know is the military is contracting because James Gadsden is a colonel.
Right.
Mhm. Correct.
So you don't see Andrew Jackson's name on here,
Mhm.
the president of their nation at this point. So yeah,
James Gadsden.
yeah. So all these treaties are tied to the military. So then the question becomes this: who really finances the military? You can't really say the United States because they're deferring any kind of money or payment to the United States. But the question really is, who's funding this military? Is it a nation from Europe?
Mhm.
Because we can see they're going into contract independent of the United States.
Right,
Mhm.
right.
You see
Yeah.
what I'm saying?
Correct. It's
So
almost like I would say the whole U.S. system is like a subsidiary of whichever of its
Mm.
its mother company or its mother business, you could say. So it's like, okay, we're gonna send y'all out here to set up shop, and of course, we'll finance whatever we need to do, but y'all gonna still be paying us regardless. Y'all can make it seem like y'all running stuff, but y'all still have to make sure we're getting a cut of everything too, type of
Right.
thing. And that mother company would be Great Britain or United
Okay.
Kingdom or something like that.
So let me go upstairs and turn the light on real quick.
Mm.
So what we had 39 of 56 people that signed the Constitution, right?
Mhm.
Those people form a corporation or a nation called the United States government, right?
Right.
Then you got people that you're contracting to hire. It's military, right?
Mhm.
But while you're in that Pennsylvania area, which is where that first capital was, while those 56 people who drew up everything, right, those would be like the managers. So while they're in Philadelphia, they got the operations going on in Florida with military operations, right? The military is contracting with these chiefs from these different nations.
Mhm.
We can see as we build up to the Civil War, we can see how the Civil War is going to start because the military is getting the big head. The United States military is the one going in the treaty.
Going door to door.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So you can
Yeah.
see their military kind of getting to a point where they look back at the 56 like, we good, bro. Like,
Yeah, we really don't need y'all.
Right.
Mhm.
Pretty
Right.
much, yeah. And like I guess you and Chief Black Coat was saying, it's like, yeah, we'll make sure we get the land and everything. We'll defer all the paperwork to y'all since that's all y'all do anyway. We're gonna push that up
Mhm.
to
Right.
Philadelphia and let y'all get the
You
you
boots
know.
on ground, so
you
we
know,
gonna
Right.
get what we want. Right.
So it's like we gonna take it regardless, but if y'all want to make it look like it's legit, we'll send it up
Mhm.
here. We don't really have to. We just abide by and
They
like you
have
said,
no idea what's going
start
on.
seeing the big head.
right.
They have no idea what they're doing down there. They're just deferring all the treaties pretty much upstairs to
Right.
Philadelphia to be corrected.
Mhm.
We
Which
can
is the
prove
same thing that goes on today in regards to all of these campaigns to try to get us to vote and to side with one party or another,
Mhm.
for the greater good of Black people or whatever. And
Mhm.
it's the
Talking to
same
it.
thing. It's the same type of situation.
and we can prove
Just
this. Now, go ahead, Chief Water.
no, I was just gonna say it's just like empty. They're at the end of the day, they're still going to get what they want. They're going to say they're going to do this, say they're going to do that, but at the end of the day, they have a end plan and they always pretty much get what they want.
And here's how we can prove what we're saying about this being military occupation. Here's the second treaty that we're reading. The only European you see is James Gaston. That's the first signature, right?
Mhm.
Mhm.
And then go down to the witnesses. You got a secretary to commissioner. So he's the one that's writing up the treaty, secretary, right? You got John Fagan, an agent, right? He's gonna get his little commission off of the land and the resources that they're about to take from the Americans, right?
Right.
You got an interpreter, right? Somebody who speaks the American language as well as European. You got two interpreters, an agent, a secretary, and a colonel of the military. You don't have nobody from Congress is signing this document.
Right.
President isn't signing this document.
Correct.
Wow.
Right.
Y'all with it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
But
definitely.
it's the supreme law of the land
I was
in
about to
their
say
constitution. Come on,
it's
y'all.
still the supreme law of the land, and there's nobody
Right.
who's supposed to be the face of the whole
Mm.
system, the whole government that's actually putting pen to paper for these things.
Think
So
about
it's-
it for a second.
Yeah.
If this is okay, if the 56 who created this nation put in their constitution that treaty is the supreme law of the land, but they're not signing any treaties.
Mm-hmm.
So this is prime example. You're under military occupation.
Yeah, they got the Americans to sign. So now that you done
Correct.
contract with me, that's the
Mm-hmm.
supreme law of the land.
So,
Yeah.
so there really is no treaty.
Pretty
Mm.
much, yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
No one from the 56 signed it.
No one from the government. Yeah.
Oh.
From this whole corporation signed it. You signed it with a military head.
Mm-mm-mm.
So
That's how, yeah. Proof that we're under military occupation. Prisoners of
Again.
war. Prisoners of war. We signed over our freedom.
I'm glad Chief Alligator kept reiterating that.
Yeah.
These are two separate operations.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Damn, yeah.
So to
Wow.
enforce the treaty, now here's where it gets tricky. Not tricky, but here's where I'm just throwing this out there.
Mhm.
You would have to go up under a military tribunal court to enforce this treaty.
Say it one more time.
To enforce a treaty, you would have to go into some type of military court.
See what you're saying?
Not a
Since that's
Supreme Court, a part of their government, because
Right.
that's not who contracted.
Right.
Wow.
You're going to court on the fort.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
You're being tried by military generals and military personnel, probably just random bums out of the militia. They're pretty much judging you for how they feel and
Right.
giving you crazy sentences or crazy punishments, whatever.
So what we're really doing is we're just really receiving rations, just like our ancestors that went into Oklahoma, quote unquote, black people today who were denationalized after the Trail of Tears, are really still receiving a form of rations.
Yeah.
Right.
From the military via its government. And the reason why I'm saying that is think about every time you've seen us uprise in society since they've brought us under the United States government nation.
Structure.
When we get out of line, who always pulls up?
Military.
Military.
Yeah.
In your face in black and white.
I was just saying that the other day. Yep.
Congress just sits back like,
when the European
no
gets
George
out of
Floyd.
hand,
No George Floyd Act.
this is your land, take over. This is what you all were doing prior to. Anyway, and that, like you can see it here, this is what they were doing anyway, running amok. But they just said, okay, but then we'll sign this off to make sure that it's okay with the government. But we're gonna take the shit anyway.
Right.
We're gonna take the capital because it's ours. Again, that arrogance, that sense of ownership over something that's not really theirs. And we can see how that's trickled from just reading this over to like the January 6th incident. You can see how they're still in that mindset. And that's why they didn't receive any pushback. Open the gates for them. But again, if it was us, then it'd be all out war because that's what it is. But we just don't register that as a people.
It's interesting that you're saying that because here we are, September 26, 2021. We're ending up third fiscal quarter. And so you look at 2020 and you look at everything that happened with prisoners of war. You look at all the slave patrol killings that one in particular set the world on fire, George Floyd. And as of this week, the week of September 20th to September 24th, you've gotten nothing from this government with all the marching, protesting, rioting, burning of cities, pulling down Confederate statues. You got no laws change. And so that's another prime example for people to stop and ask themselves, let's just say we're crazy. Let's say the 4 people on this video are crazy when we say prisoners of war. Then how do you explain everything that happened last year and nothing changed lawfully?
Right. Can't explain it.
Yeah, think about it. Nothing changed
You
lawfully.
really can. You really can when we're reading it.
Nothing changed lawfully for us in particular.
Right.
But for everybody, all the other
prisoners of war,
all the other non-Americans, non-natives, they receive benefits from this corporation, this government. So again, that in itself should show, why don't we? Because we are prisoners of war. Why would I give benefits to people who I have ownership over? You're prisoners of war. You're incarcerated. I'm not going to give you a benefit for what?
And I have it on paper.
Right.
Let me ask y'all a question. Let me just be brutally honest. What happens when the next murder happens, similar to George Floyd? What does this group of people do? Because you've marched, you've protested, you've done formations, you've burned cities. What do you do this time? Because all of that got you nothing. So what happens when the next slave patrol, and here's what's interesting to me, you put on a uniform in a locker room, you know you're putting on cameras, and you're still killing people on video. What is going to change about this group of people behavior the next time a murder is done on video? because you had about 4 murders last year: Ahmaud Arbery, George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, the dude in Wisconsin that got paralyzed. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You had about 5 or 6 viral murders that
Right.
happened that set the whole nation on fire. And you got nothing changed lawfully. So what happens when this happens again? Do our people still follow these preachers and these fake corporate leaders that they throw in front of us on TV? Do we keep doing the same thing over and over again? That's my
Exactly.
question to y'all.
When
You
do
would
we get
hope
off
not.
exactly?
Yeah, you would hope not that more people just wake up. I mean, none of this stuff is hidden. This is public information for us to see. And I think that if more people just knew about what the information that we are putting out there, that something has to click in your mind, that, okay, yeah, we are under military occupation and it may take fighting back.
All right.
So Chief, hold on, Chief Kawhi, let me ask you. So what do we do different? That's the question I'm asking each 3 of y'all. We've seen the marching, we've seen we've seen a lot of stuff last year to try to get the slave patrol defunded, and you got nothing.
The only thing that I can think of is collectively on a larger scale, us standing together to make some type of change. I mean, that's the only thing that I can see us. We have to do something on a mass scale, collectively.
What are you talking about? A march? Or what are you talking
about? No, I think it's going to take more action, more aggressiveness, fighting back. Pretty much.
I mean, everybody on this channel understands we're prisoners of war. So it's the question, the answers in this question itself on what do you do next, or how do you get out of this, ugliness that you receive from this government and the slave patrol. There's only one real answer to that. As being a prisoner of war, you fight back. That's the only way. You have to make those people or whoever respect you for who you are. First, you reclaim who you are. You're an American. Then you understand why they treat us like this. Why do we get treated like this and get no tangibles and receive the hate and all of the bad stereotypes? Why is all of that? You show them who you are. You show them who you are. We've forgotten who we are.
Okay, Chief Biko, where you at with that? That the next time one of us get killed on video and people erupt and want to, what do we do different this time? Because of everything that happened last year, you got nothing for it as of this week. Congress voted not to do the George Floyd Act, not to defund the police. So basically you got nothing. You got a slave holiday and Black Lives Matter painted in BT as if that matters.
Right.
We pretty much outline it every video, the 12 steps. That's something that we have to do as a collective. We know the 12 steps pretty much like the back of our hand. But one of the things we do is in step 10, what is this? We find no more financial support, alter, stop, redirect it. That's one. We already noticed there's no money in the system. So while we continue to play the game, remove ourselves from it. We have farmland. Don't mow down your lawn, your farmland like they're telling you to do. We work with ourselves, build up what we need to make this, because it's going to be a war. So we're going to have to make sure that we are well off for it. We are prepared for it as far as food, tools, anything that we need to make sure that we can fight back. Because once we do that, they're like, okay, now they're going to see that as a sign of war, that we're preparing for something. So that's the first thing we have to do. And then of course, we have to get our minds and bodies right for that particular fight, because it's going to happen. It's going to happen. And I think right now might possibly be, there's probably no greater time for us to actually take these steps to do this thing, where as far as just taking our money out the system and just preparing ourselves for this, because we know this system is crashing down. It's crashing and burning. They're trying to find any way that they can to keep the game going as long as possible. We're in overtime 45 right now. Yeah, people tired of playing at this point. People about to just letting folks score. So we can see the writing on the wall. You got people as far as in the military withdrawn from it because they're not trying to take these vaccines. So they're already fighting amongst themselves. So at this point, it seems like the most opportune time to actually do what we need to do as a people. Like Chief Blackco said, reclaim our identity, know who we are. Like Chief Quietwater said, work with each other, take our money out, and just do business amongst ourselves, even if it's IOUs for the time being. You give me some groceries here, I'll give you some free
Right.
gas, some free issues to work on your vehicle or something like that, just to keep everything going how we need to as far as in our own ecosystem. And then once that is done, then we just, if they want to bring it to the front door, we bring it to the front door with it.
Right.
I
We
was
walk
fighting.
away.
So
We walk away from everything they have going on, paying their taxes, paying their debts.
we
Right.
actually,
You
we
don't deal with it.
we reclaim our identity and step away from their system because it's not our system.
Right.
And this is what we've highlighted in these treaties.
When we start in-home building, we can literally walk away from all the industries. We have enough people to do it ourselves. We created them. We can do it ourselves. But,
Correct.
again, being that prisoner of war, we're going to always have military presence, no matter what we try to do. Tulsa is a great example. So with that being said, again, the only way out of this is by fighting out of it. You have to fight out. Malcolm X told us all the time, we love him, but we never understand how do you get out of this bloodshed?
Bloodshed. It's gonna have to be some blood spilt, man.
It's the same thing from the beginning. We're reading treaties of the military moving people around, bringing in natives or our ancestors in that had nothing to do with the treaty. They just told you, they were over there going to war with them. It doesn't matter what you think.
Right.
Right. We're here now, so now you're just fighting. We forgot.
And I'm asking that, I asked that question because, again, everything's lining up for those that are in deep denial or full flight from reality mentally. And you believe that you're a part of this system. Ask yourself, Congress just decided this week that we're not going to do anything about the police. That is normal operating procedure. That you do a little temper tantrum for a couple of months last year, and now they don't even want you really. Now it went from riots and cities burning to now they want you to peaceful protest. So it's almost like they're treating you like a child. It's almost like when we murder you, you better cry under your breath. It's pretty much what a peaceful protest is. They're basically telling you cry up under your breath.
Right. We don't want to hear it.
Right, we don't want to hear it. So
it's just crazy how we see these things and we react exactly how they did, like you just said, cry under your breath.
We act as minors. We react as minors. That's where that minority come from. It's a mindset.
And it all boils It all boils down to just us not having any structure or having no type of real organization. We understand that our Black caucus does absolutely nothing for us. So all of that trickles down. When you have nothing on that level, on the Congress level, it all trickles down. No type of protection, no type of nothing to back this group. You only have one option. You stand up for yourselves. You have to defend yourself. Like
nobody's gonna come and save you.
Right.
Like you said, kill or be killed.
It's crazy because my parents, they remember the civil rights era. And we look at their generation and say, well, how could you allow them to blow up churches and sick German shepherds on you, and the fire department hit you with water hoses, and and then here we are right now in a similar scenario. And the youth are looking at us because we're adults. So the kids are looking at us because we're supposed to be we're supposed to be superheroes to the youngsters.
To the young,
And they're looking at us like, how can y'all just go along with after George Floyd, nothing changed? So now we're in a weird place because we can no longer talk about what our parents didn't do in the 1960s, because now this is our moment to do something different.
You can't say, I would have. Oh, hey, ain't no way in here that would have been me.
Right. We're right
Lazy
here.
opportunity. Yeah.
Right.
We're right here right now. We're in it right now. Nothing has changed. So I don't think people really understand what type of time that we're in right now under this government. That all the murders that we saw last year on video, no operating procedure has changed. So that emboldens slave patrol as racist. You got to think about that. That's a win. That's their government saying, no, we want you out there doing what you do best. And so it's just a matter of time before somebody else gets killed and it goes viral. Like, that's what I'm saying. Because the laws haven't changed. So what, we're gonna walk around in denial like there won't be another George Floyd in a couple of weeks?
Exactly. There's been one every year.
And our biggest issue is a lot of our people are not paying attention to what's going on.
Right.
We receive most of our information through the news, and that is misleading at all times. You have no idea what's really going on or what's really at hand.
They gonna talk about COVID.
They're gonna talk about everything else. Everything else. Everything else. The biggest story should be, why isn't this group of people getting anything through this government? That's the number one story right now. Nobody, our people don't know. We're like,
our own news outlets not even talking about that shit like they need to. They rather talk about what woke man is messing with another woke woman or something like that. Like, they'd rather have, clickbait instead of actually talking about, the real shit, which should be
clickbait.
Like Chief Black Coat just said, that should be the headline every day. Why haven't we received what was promised? Every day that should be the headline.
Control no media, so we can't get it out to the people.
We're compromised on every level. From your Black caucus to your quote unquote Black outlet media. Just the fact they use the word Black, but we're compromised on every level. And in closing, I'll say this. We've been dumbed down so much that we don't understand that the world operates on fiscal quarters, right? So this is the last week or the last day of the third fiscal quarter. So what did we get done as a group of people from a business standpoint this year? Nothing.
Nothing. Not a damn thing.
The reason why nothing got done is because your Black Congressional Caucus, which is that's your political leadership, whether 98% of us don't even know that or not. But when there's no agenda, when there's no plan, when there's no goals written on a chalkboard to say, hey, this is what we're going to get done by the end of this year, right? This is why we're in the state we're in. We don't have any leadership as a group. We don't have any leadership. We don't have that caucus coming out saying, okay, here's what we're going to hold this administration's feet to the fire for in the first 100 days, right? Which is the first fiscal quarter of the year. And the first 100 days go by. That's powerful because now, if you got left out by Biden, that means your group is benign and neglected for the next 4 years. And so the rest of this is just theater at this point.
Yeah, because we implementing whatever we pretty much have enacted in that first 100 days.
Right.
We're implementing that shit throughout the rest of the rest of the term.
Right. It's going to be illegals. It's going to be agents. It's going to be businesses. It's going to be gays. Right. And so nothing for us. So I'm just saying that to say that we are leading by example, showing people the power of starting something and finishing something. That's something that we haven't done since the Montgomery bus boycott. Right. That's the last time that we actually did something for a year. Those people walked for a year. Right. To get something done. We have not, as a group of people, set a goal and said, we're not moving on it. Because that's the power of a goal. You can't move me off my mission. You see what I'm saying? But because we have no mission, they can just throw stuff at us on the news. Oh, now it's Afghan. Now it's Haitians. Now it's this. Now it's that. And it's like,
to stay focused on our shit.
We're so reactive. Because we don't have a plan.
Right.
Well, you got a plan, you can put your blinders on and just kind of like just become oblivious to whatever's going on.
When you have a plan.
Yeah.
We don't know where we're going.
That's what a plan is.
We'll never be successful. Yeah, we'll never be successful without a plan. That's how it first starts. You gotta, what did Earl Nightingale say? You gotta have a damn plan. The successful people have a plan. That's the first step in success. You gotta have your plan and you gotta make sure you're doing everything that you can to reach that goal at the end. But if you don't have no plan, you have nothing. You nobody.
Have that plan and also act out that plan.
Exactly, and
That goes back
act out.
to
Correct.
being on code and understanding what time it is and really working towards that goal. Like, but
Mhm.
we have no goals in sight, nothing as of now.
So we'll pick it up next week. Who's gonna read what? Or y'all want to shut it down and break it down? That goes into a different treaty, I believe. Yeah. That's the
Yeah,
one.
it is
Went up
something
there.
else. Okay.